Hello everyone and welcome to my bonus figure review. This is in conjunction with my Hiya Toys GMK figure review, that of which was uploaded also to my channel. If you'd like to check that out, please do give it a view. Be sure to give me a like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. Let's go ahead and jump in without further delay. Alright, so Scylla, this figure I've had the last month. It's been out for actually a minute. I just wanted to go ahead and drop it as a bonus video since I didn't get this figure instantly when it released. But first things first, I think it is awesome that we're getting more figures from the Monsterverse. We're just not being limited to icons such as Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Kong, etc. But we don't want to alienate the rest of the kaiju that even briefly appear, even if Godzilla destroyed them in the opening moments of GXK. The box art for this action figure is extremely simple and small. On the front we have a nice action shot of Scylla, simple colors, lime green text, which is kinda out of place but hardly a complaint, it does its job, showing you exactly what you're getting and what's in the box solely. As tradition, we have a shot of what you're getting on both sides. I gotta say that I love this rock looking overlay on the outlines of the picture. Small switch up from the traditional simple colors that kinda fade that we usually see. But I'll go ahead and give it its props for just this change up. The top is a simple Godzilla x Kong, the New Empire logo, in this nice clean white text. Once again, the bottom is the exact same, however though the background is a darker color. Finally, we have the back, which has a QR code, one simple promo shot. It's simply just a shot that's reused from one of the sides that we see on the side of the box. So the action figure, no accessories. We're going to be breaking down this review simply to the articulation, the paint apps, and the sculpt. Size, of course, too, we'll go ahead and compare it to other action figures, but there's really not a lot of things they could have done for accessories, so I'm not going to act like that's something they could have done a lot with, so we're going to bypass that. Now, right off the bat, I want to go ahead and say there is one feature that I expected about this action figure that's not quite present. I'll go ahead and talk about it in a moment. The core color for this action figure is just primarily shades of orange that go from light to dark, which kind of reminds me of boiled crab legs. Like, I look at this guy, I don't want to dip him in some garlic butter sauce or something. Here's a good look at the core back of the body. The legs have so much texture. Bumps, prickles, spikes. And the approach with the colors fading isn't exactly too wild. Here's a close-up looking at the gnarly looking face with those tentacles. And to my surprise, this is what I was alluding to, I expected bendy wires for the tentacles. Maybe it was actually a good call not to do this because of the fact that bendy wires in such fragile areas could have had quality issues rising in the long run. So I think it is best they went ahead and took this approach. In fact, the tentacles are actually free. None of them are sculpted together, which is similar to like how NECA does for like the modern Predator action figures. Super flexible, pliable. You won't have any issues with these. So let's flip our boy over and you get to see this nice fleshy dark purple area that you probably wouldn't have noticed on screen in the movie considering how fast things were happening. The side flaps are nice and pliable. The coloration continues on the bottom of the side of the legs, nice and clean. Overall, I love the approach of the colors in the sculpt. None of any of the sculpt looks exactly the same on the legs, and I think that is really awesome just to see they didn't reuse the same mold for each leg exactly. If you go ahead and feel around, if you look at things, you'll notice it is different from leg to leg. But overall, it keeps the action figure looking fresh and unique in every which way you look at this action figure. So let's jump into the articulation. Kind of limited, unfortunately there isn't a lot of room to do much with this action figure. It's all in the legs, like quite literally. At the base of the legs we have a ball joint giving this guy a nice smooth spin rock. This is where these pliable flaps come into play and honestly show some of the best of the articulation of this action figure. So all the legs, while they do have separate molds for the legs individually, all the articulation is exactly the same, so you're not going to see anything that's unique for individual legs at all. They all kind of function kind of like a knuckle. Bend in, we got him looking like a dead spider on its back. The next point of articulation slides back and forth smoothly. Finally, the tip of the claw has its own individual articulation. To an extent, you can slightly rock this back and forth, but it's bare minimal at most. It's simple, but gives us enough overall. The real strength of this action figure simply lies in the sculpt and the paint apps, and that's my honest take. The articulation is good enough and gives you enough range, but it's still nothing amazing, and really when you look at this action figure, really it has its limitations by default, just given the fact that it's basically just a giant spider. Not saying it's not a cool action figure, it's just that the best part all goes to those paint apps and the molds. So Hiya does it really well and nails it there. the total essence. So let's go ahead and get Scylla up against a few different kaiju from different eras and different companies. Hiya, Godzilla 2019. Hiya, Godzilla Evolved. SH Monster Arts Gigan. NECA GMK. Hiya, Skullcrawler. Hiya, King Ghidorah 2019. Overall, a decent figure for those that are completists of everything Godzilla related that you see on screen. Now I'll go ahead and say this, the positives about this action figure. The weight of the body of the action figure doesn't put too much strain on the legs. I've had this figure on the shelf for about a month and not seeing any strained or warped legs, and I think that is awesome. Speaking of warped legs, I never saw this action figure actually have any warped legs when I got out of the packaging. I'm hoping that's not a quality issue that if anybody is seeing. If you guys are seeing that, please let me know if anybody does have any warped or bent legs. I do think it also was actually a good idea not to do bendy wires for the tentacles overall because of the fact that I do question, even though the tentacles with bendy wires would have been a cool idea for extra articulation, the thing is that could have been really fragile and I could see like the bendy wires just puncturing through the tentacles as time goes on. This is probably the best that you're going to find in the market for collectible action figures. I don't think anyone else has actually done a Scylla outside Playmates. SH Monster Arts has not been bold enough to touch kaiju outside the bigger names in the Monsterverse. But for now, this is the best in the collectible realm that you're going to find. I've left a link down below for Calcus.com. They'll give you the hookup as fast as you want to. If you don't want to go in and wait for those domestic sites, which you could be waiting for a bit. A little extra pricey, however though, they'll treat you good. I've had nothing but good experience from them. Click down below or just copy and paste the link. Do whatever you need to. He's available now. Be sure to check out my GMK review. Banger of a movie, banger of a Godzilla design. How did Hiya Toys attack? Click to find out, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate the support and the engagement and the opinions on the action figures, even if it's a hot take. See you guys around.